Today, we are going to do a walkthrough of the first half of the year in my reading journal, so stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are here for the first time, my name is Tracy and I want to thank you all for joining me today. So yes, this is my 2025 reading journal. It's a B5 reading journal. I had to think, for some reason I got ready to call it a B6, but it's a B5. So it is like close to a classic size. Look at how chunky it is. So yes, if you can tell by the front, I stuck some stickers on here. This is going to be a pirate theme, but my pirate theme is only the annual stats as well as the challenge pages. Other than that, there are no pirates anywhere. So yeah, I just kind of went a little basic with this part of the cover. And then here's the other cover. Did some stamping in the background. So here's like the intro to the pirate theme. And then here we go. This is kind of my info page. This kind of says how I am rating books. However, I will say both of these have gone by the wayside, and this is pretty much what's guiding me. So in 2024, I wanted to be a little bit more strategic about how I was rating books. So I started rating books based on these titles, and they just happen to spell out the word spice. I love me a good acronym. Love it. So it was like, yay, perfection. I think one of these I had to change the word to make it actually fit, but it's the same concept. So in 2025, I was like, I definitely want to carry that over. And I would say the past 2-3 months, yeah, I've just been kind of rating books off of vibe, and I kind of like that. Maybe I'll go back to it one day, but right now I think we're just rating off of vibe. But just in case you're interested and you didn't see the setup video, we'll kind of go through it in case, you want to borrow it. So the S is for style, which is the overall writing style. That might be the letter I changed. I think that was the letter I changed because it was writing style. Is what it was originally. I just said style. So how's the pace, the flow, the world's building, stuff like that. And then plot, was it easy to follow? Is it interesting? Is it well developed? Is there a plot? That's what I should put there, because there are some books I'm like, was there a plot? I don't know if there was a plot or not. Then the I is intrigue, which is, did I have a hard time putting the book down? So did I feel like I had to stay up past my bedtime to read it because I needed to know what happened next? That's what I mean by more of intrigue. Characters is basically, were they likable? Did I have any type of connection to the characters at all? And then enjoyment is just, how did it make me feel? So I really like it. It's just a lot to think about. And I've just been so behind on even doing my book reviews. And when I do finish a book, I do immediately go into Storygraph and rate it. So it does get rated there, and I rate it on my Kindle, which are going to be 2 different ratings because Kindle is connected to Goodreads and there's only full stars. So you can't do half and quarter, but Storygraph allows you to do half and quarter. And I love me some half and quarter star ratings. I think almost every book, unless it's a 5-star, gets like something like a part of a star added on. So yeah, so basically I'm just going to this, which my 5 stars is I would reread it, can't stop thinking about it. Like, there was basically all of this, it was there. It was good from the beginning to the end. If it had a slow start, when I say slow, that means it kind of was difficult for me to become interested in it at first, or to even follow it at first. And when I talk about at first, I mean like 5 to 10% max, no more than that. Then those are likely going to be my 4.5 star. And those are going to be the ones where I struggle with, either at the first, like I said, 5%, maybe 10%. But then the rest of the book was like 5 stars, no doubt. I still have to take that into account. So that's my 4.5. And then 4 stars is a page turner. I love it, but it's not at that reread level. So it's going to have a couple of flaws throughout the book. It's like, it's pretty clear it's not a 5-star kind of in my mind. And then 3-star, just okay. Nothing special. I don't regret reading it. It's not like I felt like it was a waste of my time. It was just, I probably won't remember exactly everything that happens, and that's fine. The spice rating is I mean, it's just too hard. It sounds like a good idea, but when you're reading maybe romance books, but when you're reading fantasy books, I like really plot driven fantasy books. So this is kind of hard to do, and I just stopped doing it. So I have some of the stickers. I might plop a sticker down if I need to in certain instances in books, but I don't know that I use this rating more than like the first 2 months. But it was good in concept. But I think next year, I think I'm going to simplify things a little bit more. And then here's my reading goals. So I put 75 boxes here. That's like my stretch goal because I think I read like 71 or 72 books last year. And I'm like, oh, I got to put more books than I read last year. But in theory, if I get to 52, I'm happy because that's one a week. That's what I want to do. I'm not a huge reader. I've never read, I think last year, like I said, I wish I could remember how many it was, but it was like in the low 70s. That was like more than double the most books I've ever read in a year. So that might have been an extremely great reading year, and I might not get that close. I'm at 34 now, so I mean, that's only 68. So I mean, I guess, yeah, if I keep on this pace, and I've had some really low reading months, but then I had some good ones as well, I could hit it. Now, the color coding. What I really wanted to capture here is for my like own personal kind of stats. I wanted to know how many of the books I read on an e-reader. And then I wanted to break that down further. How many are the ones that I borrow from like Libby, like my Libby library app? So they're free. I'm just borrowing it. Or how many are the ones that I actually purchased? And then I have another color here. It's like how many, you know, when it's like Stuff Your Kindle Day and you get these free books from Amazon. Those are freebies. I wanted to count those too. So I actually have 3 colors that can be an ebook, but they're still different because I wanted to see how many, like, am I using my Kindle Unlimited? Is it worth the purchase? It's kind of like what I'm thinking about. Obviously right now it is because this blue color is my Kindle Unlimited books pretty much because everything with the $sign that's Kindle Unlimited. I haven't actually purchased an actual Kindle book. So everything with the $sign is Kindle Unlimited, but I put the $sign there because in theory, I'm kind of paying for it. I'm paying like $12 a month. And then the same concept with audiobooks. I have Borrow and then Cash. So Borrow will be obviously again Libby, as well as Hoopla. Hoopla has some good, you can borrow ebooks from there too, but you can't really transfer it to your Kindle. So I only do audio from there. But either those two, and then the money ones are anything from like Audible, Spotify, or any of those services, like whether or not I'm actually doing it as a free trial or 99 cents a month, because that's the only time I do it is like when it's 99 cents a month. But it's still a cost-based service, so those are 2 different colors. So for there, Libby is actually dominating. I have a few that are like I got through like Audible, but not as many. So, and I think there's a couple that I've downloaded but have yet to listen to. And then the final one is just books that I own that are physical books. So that's why it's a $sign. I don't really check out books from the library. I'd rather just get the e-copy version. So there's been a few of those, and that kind of comes into here. So my goal is to finish 3 series. I'm almost finished number 2. So I should get to that this year because I think there's another series where the final book is coming out next month too. Read 12 physical books. I'm only like 33% done with that. We'll see. Some of my physical books I'm like reading on ebook because if it's available at the library, I jump on it, or an audiobook. Can I count that? Because I own the book. And I'm reading it. I'm just not actually reading the paged book. So yeah, I haven't decided yet. Read from 5 different genres. I think I've done that. We'll check that out in a minute. Complete 3 challenges. That's going to be an end of the year type look back. And complete 4 readathons. I think I've already done that too. So we'll come back to that. This is my annual stats. I haven't updated June and July, but I mean, I have, but they're on my, like they're here. So like this is June, like I have all the stats written here that would go here. So like how many pages I read, how many hours I listened, how many Kindle, all this other stuff are all here. So I just haven't filled them out, but I do have it already captured. I think looking ahead to my next reading journal, because it is something that I'm probably going to start setting up maybe like October-ish, because I like to enjoy the setup process. So I probably will start setting it up around that time. I think I want to move this page closer to my monthlies, like where my monthlies start. Like I have all my monthlies in one section back here. And I like write my monthly wrap-ups. And I think I want this page closer to that just because it's more of a summary of this. And I don't know, it just makes sense to me, I guess. I still like having it duplicated because it's nice to kind of compare the months in one place. Because when you have it like written for each month, you have to keep flipping back and forth and trying to compare. This is just a good overall comparison. Obviously, I'm going to eliminate the spice rating. I just put okay, so I only did it for 2 months. After that, I stopped. The average star rating, I'm getting that from my Storygraph app. The audio, I've kind of done that in 2 different ways because Storygraph does it in a decimal point system. When I manually add it, I actually do the hours and the minutes. I need to actually be uniform with that, so I might change it. And I like the hours and the minutes, so I might change all of that. This is gone. I think I might have talked to you guys about this first. I want to do a year in pixels because it looks so pretty when you're all finished and everything. I just can't keep up with this. I'm not in this journal every day at all. I do track what I read here, but a lot of that gets tracked with my Kindle because I do read a lot of ebooks. So I don't really have to be as like on point to come in and like have to like remember when to put the dots down. But I don't know. It just felt like too much work to do this. So you can see I even did that, which means unknown. I was trying to like have a purpose instead of saying just what days I read. So I was trying to say how many hours, and that was just way too much. That would have just gone by the wayside. I mean, I technically could still just color it in different colors based on these calendars, but I think I'm gonna just ignore it and we're just gonna say I never filled this in. But I do have some space over here to do something with at a later time. So this is my genre shelfie. This is where I just want to kind of snapshot of what I'm reading. And I will say the dark pink is my romantasy, and then the green is my fantasy books. I have a hard time sometimes trying to figure out, is it romantasy? Is it fantasy? Because in my mind, romantasy is kind of a romance heavy book in a fantasy world, whereas a fantasy might have romance elements. If that's the case, most of this probably should be green. And I kind of started doing that down here. It's kind of changing the way I look at it. So this is inaccurate, but I'm just going to visually combine the dark pink and the green as one category for right now. Next year, I'll be a little bit more on point with that. Yeah, because like I definitely think, like the Throne of Glass series, I just think is more fantasy. It's more, I guess they would consider that YA fantasy. I'm kind of getting into YA fantasy again, so I might have to do that as its own separate category at some point. Like next year's when I say that. But yeah, so this is where I'm at here. I'm hoping, I mean, I should get to this page. I think there's like 100 books on here. I don't know what I was thinking, but you know. And then here's my 2025 gallery wall where I just print the covers and then I do my star ratings. So this is where I can get like a snapshot of my star ratings, because I know a lot of people will color in their books based on their ratings. So I just do that here. So that way I can still kind of get an overall picture of the ratings. Although maybe next year I might want to do them in different colors so it like stands out a little bit more. Like everything that is over a 4-star will be a certain color. Everything that's over a 3-star will be like, you know, 3 to 3.75 will be a certain color or something like that. So I might do that next year. I should make it to this, y'all. I should make it to this. Yay. My battle of the books. So right now, my winners for top reads for January, it was Heavenly Bodies. For February, it was Reign of Shadows and Endings. For March, it was Blood and Steel. And Reign of Shadows and Endings was my favorite one for the first quarter. And then April, it was Anathema. I don't know how to say that word. Air of Fire was May. Silver Elite was June. Silver Elite. I actually just filled in my favorites before I filmed this video because I was having a hard time debating, because Silver Elite was just fun. It just kind of reminded me of a YA type book that was kind of simple to understand. It was not YA, it's an adult, but it just had that feeling of it. So it was just kind of fun. But I just had so many emotions while reading Reign of Shadows and Endings. And I'm like, you know what? it has to be the top book of the first half of the year. So with that said, DNF was Peaches and Honey. Just couldn't get through it. And I have the next book from, no, I do not have the next book from this offer. Never mind. Disregard. I have a book that people have been comparing to this one. What is it? I don't even know the name of it right now. I got it from Book of the Month. I'm nervous about that because this was kind of like a fantasy, but it was like historical and time traveling and stuff, and I just got bored, so I just could not follow it. So we'll see. And then I've gotten 3 5-stars. I've gotten quite a few 4.75 stars, and I thought about adding them here, but I'm like, right now I have a decent amount of 5 stars, so we're just going to keep it that. So Silver Elite, Reign of Shadows and Endings, and Blood and Steel are my 3 5-star reads for the year. Here's my series tracker. I finished one, Face Spy Academy, and I'm currently reading the very last book in Legends of Thesmar series, so I should finish that. The Legacy series, I think, is the last book is coming out this summer, so I should finish that, and that'll be my 3. I don't think I can get myself to read the last book in Zodiac Academy. I own the audio version, and I just can't. I tried so many times to listen to it, and I just can't. Same thing with Plated Prisoner. Like, the 4th book is just got me so, like, ugh. I just can't finish book 5 and 6, and I'm so close. This one, so just kind of, being we're kind of doing, like, a recap. I like the clean look of this. So when I get to this page, I'm gonna write the title here and then start bringing it over here because I, wanted to put decoration here. I like the clean look of this, but sometimes I have to think twice about what books are part of the series because I just have the series name, and sometimes the series name isn't in the books. Like the Legacy series, the Legends of Thesmar, things like that. They aren't like the titles of the books are different than that. So I'm contemplating next year, do I want to go back to kind of listing the books individually and checking them off as I go? I don't know. We'll see. So here's my Read My Bookshelf. This is what I mean by, I've said I've only read 4 physical books, but in actuality, I've like gotten through 6. Actually 7, because I do have Silver Elite, but I'm not counting that yet. Because I read some of them on Kindle. And the color differences don't mean anything here. I was just like, why am I coloring everything the same color? So I think I'm going to just try to make this colorful. This was just as an author backlist. Some of my favorite authors, I want to read some of their other books, but I haven't gotten there yet. But basically, I didn't know what to do with this page at the end of last year, and this is how I decided to use it. Book clubs. Every time I go to check the book clubs, it's either a book I have no interest in reading, but for the most part, especially the one on fables, it's books I've already read. So I'm like, oh. So I just haven't been able to do it. So I don't know if this is going to happen next year. So I just updated this for the first time in 4 months before this video started. So I'm doing okay with reading A to Z. I don't actually like make it a point to read a book based on a certain alphabet. I just figured after I read the book, I'll see if there's space. If I haven't filled it in, I'll come in and write it. So that's how we go. I guess when October starts rolling around, I might start paying a little bit more attention to what spots are empty and where I need to start paying attention to as far as like picking books for my TBR. So that's when I'll start getting into that. But I think I'm more than halfway done. Of course, I got the pesky little X, Y, and Z left. So yeah, maybe that Zodiac Academy book, I can get through it and that would be that. I don't think I can. I'm doing really well on Book Bingo. There are some books I don't have on here yet. So like from another challenge, that pretty much can probably go ahead and be, I have to figure out what book isn't on here that I've used for another challenge. Oh, that's the First Lost Boy. That's not the First Lost Girl. Hold up. Because I was like, I can just use that one. Where is my whiteout? So what's a self-published? I think that was the First Lost Boy. It's going to be 2 different colors. But that's okay. And then we'll say the Last Lost Girl here. I know I don't have that anywhere else, and that was from a challenge. I'll check that off later. But then that'll give me bingo here, bingo here. But my goal is to black out the whole board. So I just needed to do a cover by which for me is going to be more of a cover read. Color of the Year. Wasn't that like Pantheon or something? Or was that last year? I don't remember now. A novella. I'm supposed to read like Powerful, so that's on my shelf. A seasonal book. I have not read a summer book yet, and a snake on the cover and a special edition. I did, let me see, hold up. I did Silver Elite for comps, but I could have done that for that because I do have a special edition of that. But it's fine. So for the Year of Goober, I am on track for everything. I did change. So basically there were 2 options for each month. And I, at the beginning of the year, picked an option that I wanted to do to try to make it a little bit more difficult. And then of course, March, I like changed it up. But for June, it was like last in a series, and I picked the last in a duology because I really wanted to finish that duology. So we're going to count that. For July, it's Out of Your Comfort Zone. I haven't gotten there yet, so we'll see what's going to be there. But these are really easy. It's the Year of Goober, Joshi Corinne's YouTube channel. She goes through all of that. So definitely check it out because it's an easy kind of thing to follow. You can always just pick up in the middle of the year and just start there. So yeah. And then for the buzzword, I am through July. It says punctuation, and then there were examples, and they used the and symbol as punctuation. So I'm like, yay, that worked for me. Next month is going to be with. I have to find something for that. But so far, so good for these. This is just too much. Everything I'm reading is in a fantasy world. So there's a whole lot of places I've been. I just can't keep up with it because, again, I'm not in this all the time. So while this was a really cool idea, I just didn't keep up with it. So maybe at the end of the year, I'll go back and like just Google the locations and then write them in. But I don't feel like it right now. So this is my readathons, and this means monthly readathons, so not like the annual ones. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm on my 6th one. So now I can go back here. And we can do 5. So I'm done. This is done. So yeah, that's how I'm keeping track of it, but I have them in the monthly wrap-up section. So now we're going to get to the monthly wrap-ups. So, it changes a little bit when we go further in, but for the most part, what I capture is pretty similar. So I have my calendar here. Here's my reading list. This is what I read. So it's not my TBR. My TBR is over here. This is like, as I read a book, I like put a dot beside it, and then I put dots next to the days that I read that book. So you can see January was like a great month. And then these are my TBRs for reading challenges and readathons and things like that. And I can check them off as I do it. So I mentioned I haven't been good with book clubs. You can see here, however, like I don't want to give up on them completely. I probably should go back and fill this in just so I can see why I didn't do it. But like in January, Romantasy Forever Book Club did Heavenly Bodies, and that was not a book that was on my radar. And that was one of my 5-star reads. So I don't want to give up on it entirely. And then here are the stats. Like I said, most of these stats are the same ones that was here. It's just a little bit more in depth. Like I definitely want to capture like how many series I start that month, how many I'm continuing that month, how many I finish. Same thing with duologies and then standalones. So that's how I'm doing that. Trilogies, I'm counting as a series. I'm not doing that separate. And then here, I stopped kind of doing this. I kind of did an average rating type thing. And then genre trackers. I don't think I've been doing that either. But all the stuff up here is what was captured on the other one. So it's kind of like the books I read, breaking them down by the formats, pages read, hours read, things like that, or hours listened. I tried this month, kind of like capturing my favorites and stuff because I had a really good read. I've like read 8 books, but I don't really do that much very often. So this isn't, you'll see it's kind of gone. And then this year for the first time, I decided to put the reviews from what I read immediately following it. And you can see I was doing this, my spice rating there. So I did that there, and here I had the different types, but you'll see it go away. But I was like using stamps and stuff like this, and I was kind of all about it. I have like little icons that I made for like the genres, and I was kind of decorating. Yeah, you're going to see all that disappear come like March. But like the beginning of the year, man, I was all on it. Like Heavenly Bodies, I'm like full page, needs a full page spread. So yeah, I was like finding pictures that kind of like went with the book. And then I had this one here, and then I had all this extra space. So I was like, oh, let's make up something here. So I did a little reflecting on my reading for the month, and then some looking ahead to the next month to try to get me prepped. Now, I will say I'm definitely not going to keep this type of format going where I have my monthly setup immediately followed by the reviews for that month, just because that means that I have to wait until the beginning of next month to do my setup. And I just like to do that stuff when I feel like it. So if I want to set up, you know, February on January 15th, I can do it, you know, because a lot of the readathons, a lot of the creators that create the readathons will kind of come out a whole month in advance with that. So you can set it up pretty early. So yeah, that's that. So you can kind of see how I did. So I did like a romanticy-thon here, and I kind of put all the little things in here. I have a TBR, and I didn't fill that out. I think it's on the other page. And then kind of like the instructions and stuff, and just put it in a pocket. And then I had my TBR. There is one thing I'm thinking about maybe implementing starting like even in August. As for my TBR, there are some books that like I know I'm going to read for a fact. Like if I'm really enjoying a series and I'm like, I have got to read that book, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to read it. However, I feel like you can see like I don't do the book covers anymore in the later months because I'm like, that's just too much, especially if I don't read it. I think what I want to do is give myself options for each prompt. So like my readathon is like the 3 that I'm mainly doing is like Goober, Buzzword, and Adventures in Aldea, because it has a monthly prompt as well. It's not in this journal because it's in a separate journal. But I would like to give myself multiple options for some of the readathons. Like next month, like I said, for the Buzzword one, the prompt has had the word with in the title. Well, I might want to list 3 options, because if I start reading the first one and I don't like it, I like to have something to like refer to about other options. So I would like to kind of use this as almost like a reference for me to come back to check it out, because I don't always read these. Like these are just something to kind of be like, this is what I would like to read, because there are a lot of books. I get sidetracked very easily when someone talks about a great book. I want to read that book right then and there. And this is to try to keep me on track, but I like to give myself a little bit more flexibility with more options. So here are the stats. This month I decided to do some pie charts, and I do keep with that because I like the color, and it's just easier to see at a glance, and that's kind of my thing now. As you can see with me color coding things, I want to see things at a glance, just like a quick look. So that's why I went with that. Here's the recap for the readathon here that I did, which was the Romanticy-a-thon. And then here, so I still did the decorating here. This was 3 books. So here's I need to still do the title. And then here's March. I like this setup. So yeah, same thing here. I have my TBR here. I didn't even check off whether or not I read them. I read that one. I read that one. I read all of them. So yay. And then I did the real mathon. And then here's all the little things that I created for that one. All the little things that I created for that one. They're all in here. I ended up throwing out some of the stuff because it got too thick. Basically what I did here is all of the books that I read, I added the points here, and I took them out after I added the points. But yeah, so I did another pocket with all the points and stuff, and I put kind of the team stats here. I probably didn't need a whole page for it, but it's fine. And here's the same thing with my stats and everything like that. And then I had this whole page here, and I'm like, what do I do with it? I don't know. Look, I'm still decorating, y'all. So this is in March, still decorating the book spreads. This one, I don't know what happened. I was over it at this point. I'm like, I don't want to write reviews right now. Here's April, and I did a readathon here, and I wrote the books that I was trying to read for that readathon. This was this the Aurelium Academy one? I think this was for the Aurelium Academy, which is parts of the Magical Readathon. Yeah, and here it is. Here's the readathon stuff. I need to write that here. And then here's his titles. You can see toward the end, like I told you, starting in April, I just fell off. I thought it was March, but it was April. I just fell off. You can see, like, I don't even write the titles of the books. There's like no titles. There's no star ratings. The star ratings are here. And I did rate them in my phone, but I never really applied that here. I was just trying to write down my memories before I forgot them. So yeah, it's been a struggle, y'all. Like just coming in here and writing them. I have been writing some things on Storygraph. I've been doing some reviews on Storygraph, but here it's just hard. And then here is May. I did the Goober Readathon. And I did not do a good job of tracking. I did not read very much, but also this is not very accurate. I was really bad about it. I was listening to audiobooks, and those you have to track manually. So it just made things difficult. I did not do great. So I did finish 4 books, but I think that book definitely went into June. So there was like some struggle. This one I only finished because I switched to the audiobook. That's the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. But I got 12 points. So like that was like the lowest amount of points. I think 1 to 12 was a spooky score. If I got 13, I would have been in the second tier. But you could have got 72 and I got 12. So I didn't do that great. But that was like go wild and stuff. Then I got sick. And I just did not feel like reading when I got sick. See, I did write the titles, but I didn't do anything else. I kind of want to get my thoughts down, so I'm like rushing to do that, and I don't write anything else. I got to figure out a way. I would love to pre-prep my review pages next year, maybe like with my stamps and stuff to kind of make it seem kind of cute. Like I can pre-prep like dates read, pages. Like I have stamps for all of that stuff. But I don't know what happens if I want to do a full page spread. If I pre-prep it, then I can't do that. So it's kind of like, got to figure that out. So this was June. This is the Amazing Readathon. So I did a pile of possibilities list, and then I went through it. So here was like the Amazing Readathon. I did the non-competitive team. So basically, if you were doing a competitive team, they gave you the prompts, and then you had 3 days to read the book for that prompt. But for me, I got to pick whatever prompt I wanted. And then I wrote down the locations that were associated with that prompt, and those were the places that I went there. And I kind of wrote what the location was for the prompt here to kind of make my life easier. I did kind of switch things around. So what I had wrote for my TBRs didn't quite follow that. Because some books I started and I just was like, I don't want to listen to this, or I don't want to read this. They don't go into my DNF pile because I didn't listen to it enough or read it enough to say I never want to read it again. But I just like, I don't want to read it now. It's kind of how I am. So here we go here. So I don't think I showed you guys the filled out version because I didn't do the July. And then, you know, I stopped here. So I did 5 books. It would have been good if I would have done smaller ones here and did 3 to a page here, but I didn't, but it's fine. And then for the months of July and August, I am doing 1 readathon. I don't think I'm going to do a like monthly readathon. I'm just going to do this one, which is called the Booked for Summers Readathon. I believe it's hosted by Covers with Cassidy. That's the YouTube handle. It's very simplistic. There's 10 prompts and then like 10 challenges. And I believe I have the rules that I printed out and just put it in the bag. I think what you're supposed to technically do is read a book and a challenge at the same time. But then there's an easy mode where you can read a random book and then complete a challenge at another time. Because some of the challenges is like, try something new. I think that's book related though. Like read outside, borrow a book, matches a sunset you watch, blah, blah, blah. So I just finished Fate and Furies, which was the 3rd book in the Legends of Thesmar series. And it has an animal companion on it. So that was number 6. So what I did is I numbered the prompts and then I listed the challenges. I wrote A through J. So that way I can like put the book and then put what prompts they're for. I just felt like that was easier. That was like the only way my brain could figure out how to determine which books filled which challenge and prompt. So for Fate and Fury, I did the Adopt a Animal Companion, which is 6. And then I spell summer on the cover, which is C. And basically summer, the word summer has to be anywhere on the cover, like the letters. So this one had the author's name, the book title, it had the series title, and then it had something else there, and it easily spelled out the word summer. So I'm like, I'm just going to count it for that one. There we go. And then here's my July setup that I did not show you guys. So I did it a little bit differently than I had been doing things. So, you know, this is kind of how I've been doing the setups, like my reading tracking over here and then my TBR over here. This one, I did a cover page over here, which I really liked, by the way. I think this is digital journaling prints I got from Core Korea Crafts. So yeah, and then I used washi. I was like doing like some, like not using junk, but kind of like scrapbooking, junk journaling style there. Love that. And then, this is kind of where I am now. I finished one book. I'm in the middle of 2 more. Well, I'm going to start one tonight. I got to start it because I accidentally put it in there. And then here's the reading challenges and readathons. And then I just didn't know how to decorate it. So I just threw stickers on the page. So this is just my setup. And I finished one book, but I haven't done it yet. I haven't done the review yet. But yeah, there we go. That is my reading journal for 2026 thus far. So that was kind of what it looks like, and it's hanging on. I think it'll be fine because this month and next month I'm not going to be doing like anything lavish like this, like fold outs or anything, because there's no readathons. But I think September, is it September or October? I think September is going to be the magical readathons fall equinox. So I will have a page for that. So that one will probably be maybe a 6-page monthly spread. We'll see how that works. And then we'll get into like October. I'll probably have a spooky one. So it's going to fill up somewhat, but I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's going to be that much more kind of left, especially if I keep going the route that I'm going with these and I'm just like writing stuff down. I'm not adding any other extra decorations. So yeah, I got to figure out how I want to do my reviews next year. Like I said, I think I want them in their own section, but I'm just not sure. Do I want to do like 3 to a page next year so I don't have to think about it at all? Because I don't do plot synopsis or anything of that nature. I just write my overall thoughts on the book. That's why they're short and sweet. I'm like, if I need a plot synopsis, I can go to Amazon or Goodreads for that. So yeah, there we go. I hope you enjoyed this kind of reading journal look through for the first half of the year. I will be back doing a setup for August. I won't be doing a readathon, so it'll be a little bit more simplistic of a setup. And maybe at that time, I'll do some talking about some of the books I read in June and July, in case that is something that you're interested in as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. And if you enjoyed it, please press that like button. And if you have yet to subscribe, I hope you would also consider subscribing to my channel. That's all I have for now. I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time, bye.